Yeah, people are wondering about what's really going on. I mean, listen, Abraham, Judaism is based on a person called Abraham, that he went through what's called 10 tests. Now, a test is basically a proof. You want to call it a scientific proof, whatever it is, about actual factual proof that God is not worth worshiping, the God of the Jews. He doesn't keep his promises. It seems that he's cruel. He doesn't seem he can control the world, right? God promises. It seems that that he doesn't care about us. Doesn't care. He's very distant. The world is his natural. Abraham got thrown into a fiery furnace. It says, in the Torah tells us that in a way of a hint that he went from Ur Kasdim, and then God told him, that's last week's Torah portion, to leave his land, and God was going to say, we're going to make you great and famous. Agad Lashamecha, and you're going to be great. And Abraham said, okay, God, whatever you say, you're the king of the universe. And Abraham did what he wanted to. He went to the Holy Land, and there was a famine, and he didn't have anything to eat. And he had no choice. He had to go down to Egypt. He had to leave Israel. And when he got down to Egypt, his wife was kidnapped. So that, I mean, any normal person would say, okay, I get the message. I'm on the wrong track. I'm worshiping the wrong God over here. That's a test. And Abraham said, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to serve God. You can do whatever you want to. Tell me why? Why was he serving God? Because he realized that there's a creator, and that God is creating everyone, and that he believed and understood that God is infinitely good, and that God has a plan for the creation. And the whole 5 books of Moses doesn't mention heaven or hell, because there is such a thing, but it's not important. Heaven and hell is like an explanation. That's sort of logical. You go through this and you go to heaven. You don't withstand the test, you go to hell. That sort of makes sense. That makes sense a little bit. The reason that bad things happen here is in order that good things will happen in the future. So it's that makes religion sort of like an investment, a worthwhile investment. What you can get in this world, what are you going to get? Sorts of pleasures and money and fame. You're going to die anyway. What's going to happen after you die? Better make an investment now, because it'll be too late. So that's not the message of Judaism. The message of Judaism is that every moment of this life is precious and valuable. So now, but I mean, maybe we can. So we can't really make sense of what happened with the Hamas. They broke through. They killed all these people, 1,400, in those terrible ways. I mean, I've heard stories. I don't even like to hear the stories because I can't sleep at night when I hear these things. I sleep a couple of hours and then I wake up, and then I try to go back to sleep. And they burned children. They sat them in a big circle and they poured gasoline on them. And the children didn't know what was happening. They burned them beyond recognition. There's still about 200 bodies that can't recognize. And they cut people's heads off, and they played soccer with the heads. They kicked the heads around. Oh, and they were very happy. And when they came back there were citizens from Gaza that came to join them. And when they came back, everybody Gaza, the whole entire Gaza was rejoicing and happy. Everybody. They were rejoicing and handing out candies on the streets and putting children on the arm and everything like that. Now, what's the explanation? And how can you explain it like that? So, I mean, I have sort of an explanation. I mean, I have one explanation for the Holocaust also. So it's the same explanation with this. What's the explanation? The explanation for the Holocaust is Nazis are evil. And God wants there to be the possibility of evil in the world. They're evil. They hate good. Same thing here. Hamas, it's evil. It hates life. It hates order. I mean, okay, so what did God do? He made these totally evil people came and attacked. They had no goal other than just to kill and to murder and to rape and to maim unarmed people. Unarmed people. I mean, the places where the Jews managed to arouse themselves and organize themselves, they didn't have any success. They only succeeded in a place where they were taken totally by surprise. And these people, I mean, it happened to be that it was in the middle of this big festival that they were making was for peace and for love and for this. So they weren't expecting. Last thing they were expecting was someone to come and kill them. But the crime was so heinous and so obviously purposeless. What do they expect to gain from it, from that attack, except to kill people? That's all. So it was obviously so ridiculous and so this that all the excuses they try to make about no, they're just venting the frustrations because the Jews are the rapists and the Jews they're the murderers and the Jews they're the ones that are killing the babies and the Jews everybody knows that's a lie. I mean, it's just simply a lie. The Jews cut off the water. You know why they don't have any water? Here they've been there for what is it, 70 years already, and they don't even have a water system because the Hamas gets all the money and it builds rockets with it. These people it doesn't even give water to these people. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The whole thing is just insane. And the education system, so now they're making these big riots in America that are supporting these people. And what are they saying? Free Palestine. The whole thing belongs to the Hamas. And these people don't know how to rule anything. Who are they going to rule? They made an infrastructure over there. They've been ruling. They got billions of dollars from all over the world, and they're not doing anything except for this desiring to kill the Jews. And suddenly, amazingly, all these groups in America that used to be, they thought they were for LGBT and the Hamas is against all these things. Free sex and free this, and no limitations, and a man is a woman is a man, and all that stuff. They're against all of it. And nevertheless, somehow or other, they're joining everybody agrees with them. Yes, they are right. We have to give free Palestine from the evil Jews. So there's a lot of Jews that are waking up. A lot of Jews that are starting to see that these people don't have a positive agenda at all. It's like the Black Lives Matter and the Tifa. They have no positive agenda. All their agenda is just confusion and destruction. But they were doing it in the veneer, in the how do you say, the garments of progress and a new world order and a new the freedom for people, and that you don't understand, and the times they are changing and all this. So everybody okay, children can change their sex because that's what they've been frustrated. But this thing what the Arabs are doing, at least a lot of the Jews there see that something is wrong over here. This is not, they're not just saying let's stop the war. They're saying stop the Jews. Free Palestine. The Hamas was totally right. Everything they did was right. They're really the nicest people in the world. But they just killed babies because of their frustration. And people see that this is not so. This is definitely not so. Right? They killed babies because they enjoyed it, every second of it, tremendously. They're living for it. They're living for destruction. And the whole essence of what the Jews is to be like the creator, to create construction. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, listen, it's true that the land of Israel is ruled by the Zionists, which is really not anything to do with Judaism. That's the fact. But they are Jews. Despite what they think that they're doing, the Zionists are doing, and they got their problems, but they still definitely are Jews. And now more and more they're coming to realize it. I go every day down to the central place now, and I ask people to put on tefillin. It's like every day, like 10, 50 people within a half an hour, one after the other, non-religious Jews. Why are they putting on tefillin? Because they realize, listen, I have to do something for my Jewish identity. I have to show that the world is not a jungle. So somehow or other, the heinousness of this crime and the obvious evil that's being demonstrated over here is waking up a lot of Jews. That they wanted to be part of this whole leftist movement and everything. And suddenly they see that the whole goal was really not to build anything, was not to make a new world. It was just to destroy the old one. Anyway, let's go. That's my little lecture for today about what's going on. So what are we supposed to do? We have to strengthen ourselves in our Judaism, and we strengthen ourselves in humanity. For the non-Jews, there's 7 Noahide commandments. You can look it up on the 7 Noahide commandments. For the Jews, all the commandments, to do as much as possible that you can do that's good. Here we go. Let's stop this. And